People already there?
Mm-hmm. All right, it's going. I definitely have pizza in my teeth.
Hello. Hi. You should put a light on and closer to it.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Is it very dark? I don't ever know how to get a light back here.
How's that? Nope.
I have that one light, but it died. I think we look fine in the dark, right? Oh, you guys are all here. There were 25 of you, and then we logged on, and now there's 18. Oh, wow, look. All our favorite fans are here.
Yay!
We could point
Any of our ones we don't like?
Like 3 of them that we don't like. Can you guys hear us all right?
They can't see us.
All right, we're sitting in the dark. We're trying to get the lighting fixed.
Dude, let's do ghost stories. Tell something scary, Jessa.
7 readings today, so there we go.
That's better, right? Oh, we went to a Comedy Central Emmys party last night. So the Emmys are tonight, Jessa.
Okay.
They were. So no one was like showing up from the Emmys last night. I don't know what they were showing up from, but the Emmys themselves are tonight, except for the Emmys that were last week. I don't know. There's multiple nights of Emmys apparently.
Last time I went to one of these Emmys parties, people showed up with fucking awards in their hands. So that's
I already gotten them.
Mm-hmm. But maybe they give them a fake one for. I think the whole system's rigged. Wheat from the chaff. I don't know what that means. I just had the worst gluten-free crust. I'm assuming that's what
it's
you're talking about.
It's not about gluten-free crust. That's a scriptural reference. That's about separating the truly good believers from the people.
Oh, you all are favorite fans.
They're the wheat.
Fuck the chaff, right?
Fuck the chaff. And fuck the crust that you ate.
I picked a cauliflower crust, and it was disgusting. And I love cauliflower crust, but it was fucking gross.
What if she had tilted the camera down and we were just naked, waist down? What if?
You're in charge of reading that because I can't.
Okay. I'm in charge of reading it. So what do you guys got any questions for us? What do you want to talk about?
I feel like maybe we should come with talking points, but we can look at my really bad spray tan. I got a really bad spray tan.
It's not that bad, but
really?
So I don't know what is bad. The knuckle, that one knuckle. Don't take your socks off. We're trying to keep viewers here. You're just pulling. I guess we can talk about this. That's a different Patreon tier. If you're gonna start showing your feet for free, we're never gonna get anywhere. You make people wait for that. Pay for the feet pics.
Did you guys like the Sunday school on mushrooms that I contributed nothing to?
You contributed the mushrooms.
I was so high that when you were talking about Noah, and I was like, was it the Noah? And you were like, no, it wasn't the Noah. And then I got really lost in like breaking down when Noah existed, and
Noah's like one of the first guys in the Bible. He's in Genesis chapter something, and then almost everyone else comes after Noah.
Yeah, but then you said that
it's like Adam, Seth, Methuselah, then Noah. I think I might be missing somebody, but like Noah's 4th generation Genesis right there.
But then you said that Abinadi prophesied about Jesus, and then I was like, I got really lost in when Abinadi was around and the intermingling of stories from the Book of Mormon in the Bible era and stuff. So I was just like,
okay, so here it goes. It's Adam, Seth, Methuselah, Noah, and then like there's Jesus, and then here is the entire Bible. The whole Bible takes place between Noah and Jesus.
I get that. It was the Book of Mormon stuff that is like confusing, where he just like adds shit.
Yeah, it's cool fan fiction stuff. I actually haven't rewatched that video since we made it. I didn't go back and watch it. I remember thinking we were funny at like the very end.
Yeah, it was.
I talked to Danny Hunt about it afterwards. I was like, "Do you remember that the priest kidnapped those Lamanite daughters and then just lived with them for a while and then just rolled back up into Lamanite town?" He had forgotten that as well.
We recorded that also at like midnight, so we were in our sunglasses at like, or whatever time it was. Then we watched that comedy special.
We watched Dave Chappelle's Stick and Stones with the second half of it. We had watched the first half of it earlier in the day
without mushrooms,
and we there's one we're gonna talk about it on I think this week or next week's podcast because we recorded about it. We stopped watching Dave Chappelle's special because we were like, there's one joke in there that's rough, and I was like, Dave. Well, also we had to get to work. We were just watching it to kill time. Anyway, but we were like bummed when we stopped halfway through, and we were like, man, Dave, that sucks. And then we watched the second half with mushrooms, and we were like, damn, Dave still got it. Yeah. Dave is really good, and mushrooms are good. Glad you guys like the Sunday school. When you're Olivia, when you were saying that you wanted an interesting episode coming up, what were you mean? Were you talking about the? I didn't know you could still do that.
They pop in and out, but there's like crushed red pepper. All right.
Can you guys hear that? Dude, ugh. Those are the implants, right? They're not called dentures anymore, right?
I did that at a comedy festival the other day. I was judging, and I was like in the front row with all the industry, and there was just something. I hardly ever take them out, but I clicked it out, and I like looked and then put it back in, and then turned around, and there was one of the industry people just like watching me.
Like I'm the real deal, baby. Last night at this party, I was super awkward. I felt like an imposter, like I shouldn't be there because we're surrounded by all these like comedians that I admire and I've seen on TV that are in all these things that I love. And there they are. They're walking right in front of me. And oh my God, I'm so nervous. And then I'm like, Jessa, how are you keeping it so cool? Why are you playing it so you're not intimidated at all to be here? And she was like, no. What was your secret, though, Jessa?
That I didn't know who anybody was.
She didn't know who anybody was. She recognized Anthony Jeselnik because he's so hot.
He's so fucking hot.
I'll admit he's very hot, and he looked really good last night. But that's the only person. It's the only person. I was pointing. I was like, that's Tim Robinson. She was like, who? What? That guy? I'm like, no, that's not that. Like, that's Kyle Mooney. Look, that's Kyle Mooney. Look, that's Beavers from Broad City.
It's weird because I'm far more likely to be comfortable in a situation like that than like the lowest pressure open mic. The social anxiety is very fickle.
Oh my God. The way that we have, all right, now I'm able to read your entire chats. This is helping. We were looking super Hollywood. Super Hollywood. Thank you so much. It was fun. There was a video like booth and a photo. Well, they're not booths, but you know they have a backdrop for you to stand in front of. And we were waiting in line for that Comedy Central background so we could take a picture. And I'm like, "What's going on here? Why no one's moved? The line's not moving." And I was like, "Is this not actually a line? Or is this just people standing near each other and we can just walk up?" But it was one girl. It was one girl who kept going back and back and back. She would then have whoever was taking the pictures for her. I don't know if it was her date or something. She would go over, take the phone, look at all the photos that he took, and then she would go back to the backdrop and do the exact same poses every
and
time.
And they were all like ass out.
Just this. And then she took forever. We were just laughing at her. Then later we go to the video thing, and she's there again, and she's doing the same thing. She just take after take.
Now
after
it's a video of her butt.
Yeah, and it's like not like our video. We did something clever and funny and original. We really used the medium, I feel, to its fullest. She's just still doing the same ass pose, but holding it for 5 seconds. She was a weird girl.
Yeah.
I enjoyed watching her.
We're superior to her is the.
It's cool if you don't know who those people are, Jennifer Sanchez. You aren't a comedian in Hollywood. Like we're at the party, you know? These are Jessa's peers.
I'm absolutely not naturally cool.
You should know who Jeff Ross is.
I do know who Jeff Ross. I didn't see him. I am not naturally cool in the slightest. Jeff Ross is the roast guy?
He was there.
I know him from Comedy Store stuff. I didn't see him.
Oh, can you hear more about the drunk camera person? All right, so when it's finally our turn, the girl is done. Then there were some guys in front of us. They took pictures. Then it's our turn. And we're like standing here. You know, this is where the line is. And the thing is over here. So you know, it's our turn. We're going to walk over here to give her a picture. I turn around to the guy that's directly behind us in line. And I say, "Hey, bro, will you take our photos for us?" And he said, "Sure." And then we walked over to the backdrop. He didn't move. He stood like he was afraid to lose his spot in line. And he was taking pictures of us from the side and at an angle. And I'm like, "Move. Come over here." And he was like, "I got it."
And he took a picture of Aaron telling him, "Come over here."
Then he finally comes in front of us and he takes several, but you can tell he's holding the camera like you want to see someone like this. And he had it like this. And so we were like, "Thank you." And then we looked at the photos.
I only posted 3, but like there were many that were like so like one corner is so far above the backdrop. So many pictures of the floor.
So then we got someone a little bit more sober to do it, and we got some good ones.
Yeah.
We looked pretty hot. Really good. How much practice do you have concealing your presence behind other people's silhouettes? No, I don't have that much practice, and I'm huge.
So
I came up with it. But then we just I was like, I think I'm gonna hide behind you and jump out, and like somehow we timed it perfectly with the changing background, and I'm wearing a white shirt, and so I think like if you look closer, you can see me poking out from Jessa's silhouette, but I'm camouflaged. But it's my favorite video. I've watched it so many times. It's cute. It's funny.
It's very good.
The guy running the thing was trying to give us ideas. He was also, I'm pretty sure, doing an accent. I do not believe he was African. I think he was just doing an accent, and he was trying to tell us. He was like, "What about this?" I'm not going to attempt the accent because I'm bad at it. But he was like, "What if she's a gazelle and you're a lion on the Serengeti and you're chasing her?" And he's like going into detail, and I was like, "All right, I can tell you right now, I'm probably not doing that one. Do you have any other ideas?" And he didn't.
He had ideas that all involved me doing something, and you said,
"Yeah, Jessa, you stand still." And she was like, "Got it." Do you guys want an episode about multi-level marketing? It's a huge. Do you guys know that it's like a huge fucking deal in Utah? I don't know how many Mormons or Utah people we have in this chat right now, but yeah. Oh, well, we actually changed our mind. Like we recorded our thoughts on the Chappelle special halfway through, and I think that's what's going to be in this week's episode. And I said that we needed to record a post-episode recap of the second half because it gets a lot more. My opinion gets a lot more nuanced. I think Chappelle is probably the greatest, and he's still very, very good. And I think that he has some issues with trans people, and I don't know. I just feel like that he had one joke that was pretty bad, that just wasn't funny, was kind of hacky, but that he had other parts of his special that were just really, really good, really funny. And then while we were on mushrooms, I was like, Jess, I had never seen The Bird Revelation. Have you guys seen The Bird Revelation on Netflix? It's one of Chappelle's other Netflix specials. It's one of the greatest stand-up specials I've ever seen.
I had never seen any Chappelle before.
All right, what is Monat? Is LuLaRoe a pyramid scheme?
Yes, leggings.
But I thought that they were like, it was like Lululemon. Like you just
No.
I thought you just went to the store and bought leggings, but LuLaRoe are specifically MLM leggings.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know that. Did you watch Big Love?
Mm-hmm.
Did one of the wives get into an MLM on Big Love?
Oh yeah.
One day I'll watch Big Love.
It's so good.
But some Twitter account was already created called A Mormon Watching Big Love. I don't think
he only did like 5 tweets though.
Do you think I could just take over it?
Yes. I tried to talk Danny Hunt into doing that.
Because it's a really funny idea. His 5 tweets were good. Monat is expensive shampoo. I just recorded a commercial. I was like, oh, I'm an actor now. Oh, I'm manifesting acting. And I booked myself a gig. It was for an MLM. So just and it was the weirdest fucking shit. It's seed juice with seeds in it. It's healthy
like
for you.
Chia seeds?
I played the role of Johnny Appleseed, so I'm and they're like the package was red. Like I don't know what kind of seeds are actually in there. I was led to believe apple seeds. I have no idea. Just the power of seed power.
We recorded 4 episodes yesterday. 3? 4.
Yeah.
4 episodes for the Patreon, I think.
Yeah, all there unless we move one of them to the main timeline, but I think we're planning on making them all Patreon episodes.
Yeah. We got Water Baby Tarot came and did Mormon and the Meth-Head episode.
I liked her a lot.
She's so great. We had Dr. V, which is another YouTube reader I like, and then we got a Tim Dillon episode.
All right, a couple things. Paul Ackerman, 2 Mormons Watching Big Love, is totally different and like twice as good as that other guy's account. So I like that idea a lot. Andrew, I watched Bill Burr's special and I also turned it off halfway through. I thought it was garbage. I thought it sucked. I maybe should do mushrooms and watch the second half, and maybe I'd be more forgiving. But fuck, that sucked. Like Dave seemed like he was being controversial for a point, and Bill seems like he's being controversial because he has nothing. Like he was trying to go after Michelle Obama, like that, like Michelle Obama is just a first lady. She wasn't the president, so why do you guys love her? It's not like she ran the country. And I'm like, Michelle Obama hasn't been in the White House for 3 years, Bill. Can you get over it? Like, what are you so mad about? The most qualified first lady we've ever had. To act like she didn't help Barack get elected, or to act like she wasn't, it's just crazy to me. Like, why are you so mad about Michelle Obama that you're just going to rant it? And they weren't good jokes either. And it was all just like women should just be wives and not try to contribute anything. Just be someone's wife or something. It doesn't make any. It was really bad. I didn't like it.
Probably at some point.
Atlanta, Josh Seaman. I actually was calling that same theater in Atlanta, trying to get a date in October or November, and they didn't have one for us. But I really want to go back to Atlanta and do. And then we had, someone who drove to the Atlanta show was trying to hook us up with people in Charleston, South Carolina as well. And yeah, so we definitely want to come back to the Southeast. We have looked into dates. We haven't booked anything yet. The Danielle Marie, that if you're talking about Bill Burr's place, it was gorgeous though. It's like a famous. It wasn't a stadium. It was like a famous theater in London, right? It was gorgeous. But that's why I like the Bird Revelation. I don't like specials. I like comedians in clubs, like intimate settings, and that's what the Bird Revelation is, and that's why it's so much better.
I thought the Chappelle special was in a pretty small venue also.
The
most recent one.
The Sticks and Stones?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it was small. It wasn't a stadium, but like it was a pretty big theater in Atlanta. When they had those shots from behind him that were showing up, a lot of people were packed in there. Xavier's in Charleston. Okay. Hi, Cassandra. MLM's Claire probably hurt everyone, but like
I've done at least 5, maybe 10. Did we really not do an episode about this a lot?
No. What 5 to 10 have you done?
I did Amway. I did Mary Kay. I did one that was these pills that were supposed to suck all the fat out of your body. And the way that we would prove it does that was you would pour a powdered coffee creamer into a water glass and then put the stuff in it. It would make the coffee creamer go into a thing. When I was a Christian, it was like someone would bring a new MLM into the church and then it would spread like wildfire. The pastor would always be at the top of the pyramid, right? He would be one of the first people to sign up. You would see him talking about it and then everyone else would sign up. He would clean up. And then we would end up buying a bunch of stuff. I was broke.
So did you ever sell or were you mostly buying?
I would
were you ever
I would buy a thing and then it was mostly weight loss stuff, and then I would get talked into being a distributor, which involved buying a bunch of products to start your thing. Or you would pay some like $700 or something crazy amount of money in the 90s. And, they would tell you how you're going to be rich and all this shit. And then, you just have like, I'll have to think about all the fucking multi-level marketing things I did, but I did a lot.
There's something about churches that make it easier to spread. I'm glad that you brought up that, it's not just Mormons, but like any church, but like Utah really, really likes their MLMs. You drive down I-15 between like Lehigh and Provo, or I guess I'm just thinking of Lehigh, but it's all like MLM offices. Have you seen commercials for Kirsten Dunst's new show?
No.
I think does anyone know if it has to do with MLMs? You're gonna like the title of it. On Becoming a God.
Ooh. And it's about MLMs?
It's about a white trashy mom in the South in the 80s, building an empire for herself. But it's called, but I think that it's like an MLM empire, but I don't know.
I remember going to buy Mary Kay, I got offered a Mary Kay makeover, and I took the makeover, and when I went to that lady's house for the makeover, she had the pink Cadillac or whatever, like she was like a Mac Daddy, like God in the Mary Kay world, and it's just like you're like, oh, I could have this because you don't understand how money or flow or anything else works, and then I just buy a bunch of makeup that I'm never going to be able to wear, and then it's over.
Infinity fraud, says Elizabeth. You trust people of your own kind. Absolutely. And there's just like this unspoken, actually, it's kind of spoken, but like, you know, that you can trust your leaders. They're the pastor.
Yeah.
He's a holy man. And then there's, like, he's also already rich. So, like, I want to be like, for
Good phrase. Hold on. There we go.
Okay. Specifically Mormon women, a lot of Mormon women get married out of high school or, freshmen in college, and they don't have job skills, and they're like, you know what I mean? They don't have job experience. And they have kids. They're staying at home. So they have to find some way to work from home and make some money somehow. And I think and all their social circles are in church, these places where MLMs spread, and they all live, near Lehigh. And there's lots and lots of MLMs out there. Somebody told me that speaking of the documentary, that there's a podcast series about MLMs that's really good.
Yeah, is that the one that they keep tweeting that you should be on?
No, that's Last Podcast on the Left.
Oh, okay.
That did their Mormonism series. The podcast, The Dream. That's it. That's it. Well done, Cath 2. What happened to Cath 1?
Oh, The Dream, when The Dream came out and was very popular, our friend who got us hooked up with Starburns Network was like, y'all need to start investigating murders, or like get a theme for the podcast, get a serial theme. He wanted me to do a series on us to do a series on trying to track down Miss Romans.
Oh yeah.
I was like, you mean what graveyard she's at? She was like 50 when I was 8.
What if she's alive? She wouldn't remember you.
No. Just another kid whose sexual abuse she.
Oh, essential oils. That's the other thing we didn't even mention. Like Young Living farms they're all in Utah. They're field. When I drive to LA, I drive past their fields of lavender. It's very calm. It's very calm out there.
Isn't doTERRA or something?
doTERRA's headquarters are in Provo. They're fucking huge. They have doTERRA's big. doTERRA's huge in like Asia. Like, I'm always seeing busloads of Asian people coming to the doTERRA headquarters to like get their prizes for being huge salesmen or something.
I just think essential oils are tight, maybe. I don't know. I don't fuck with them, but
plenty of oil.
I like it when people use essential oils for freshening up their home rather than fake things that give me a headache.
Oh, you mean like the air fresheners? Air fresheners give Jessa headaches. The next mushroom episode, I don't know, man.
I'm out of mushrooms.
Yeah, I've got one more dose of the synthetic shrooms left that I'm gonna do someday. I was really in the mood to do it, but it was like right after we had just done mushrooms, and it's a smaller dose than the first one that I took, and I was afraid that it wouldn't be as fun, and that it would be more fun if I waited. You gonna sponsor the mushroom episode? Okay, dude. There we go. Eden's Garden, is that a type of essential oil that's not an MLM? All right, we'll get you an address, Xavier. Thank you very much, man.
For mushrooms?
Yeah.
I wish I could read.
Cassandra, I'm glad that you didn't sell. That's good. Okay, cool. We message you back on the Patreon then. Thank you very much, man. Everybody sending us drugs is probably the best perk.
Nice.
People are like, I'm just gonna mail you a care package of DMT. Okay. All right. Just to say something. We watched Ad Astra. Ad Astra had some cool elements. It's had some cool elements. And our friends, the Dartnells, you guys know them, they fucking loved it. And they explained it to us on the drive home. And we felt like idiots. Like the way Matt explained it, I was like, did you guys read the book before you saw this movie? How are you?
I wish there was a way to access like other people's imaginations when you're watching movies. It was actually fine. I didn't hate it till the end.
I didn't, yeah.
I have a really hard time with things that are contrived or corny. Like as soon as you get corny, it's really hard for me to stay in. And like visually stimulating is like fine, I guess, but I think I had expectations of how I wanted it. Well, what happened was, if I remember correctly, I fucking loved Interstellar. And we had stacked this movie up against Interstellar, which has a bunch of stuff about consciousness and timelines, right? So this was stacked up against consciousness and timelines, which it included neither of those. So then I was like,
I think though that it's can be seen as a metaphor for ascension. Like there's the dark. You and I talked about the Dark Night of the Soul and all this stuff, and the final boss, and and then coming back, all this stuff. But there's like Brad Pitt's narration throughout the movie is corny as hell, and we're like in this theater. It's in L.A. And LA people are taking it very seriously, and and I like to take. People should have been laughing with us in the movie. Like we were the only people laughing at the end, and there's some straight up funny stuff that everyone just was like, oh. Oh, and I'm like, that's just silly. That's funny. I did see It Chapter 2. Jessa didn't, but I saw It Chapter 2. It's
I want to go see Hustlers.
Yeah.
We should cancel our podcast.
I almost saw Hustlers today, and I was like, Jess would be so sad if I saw it without her, so I didn't. It Chapter 2 is a really faithful adaptation of the novel. It's not that great of a movie, though. That's a hard thing about adaptations. People get mad when you change it to make it a movie, but sometimes you kind of have to if you want the movie to be good. It wasn't very scary, and it was pretty repetitive, but some good messages about confronting childhood trauma. Dude, Undone, Legion.
What?
Oh, do you want to talk? People are sorry. Someone was talking about Undone. Two people want to talk about Undone.
Undone. I watched it all in one sitting. I was fucking about it. The last 2 episodes, I didn't really give a shit about.
I didn't watch the last 2 episodes, but episodes 4 and 5 were fucking awesome. They were really cool.
You can come say hi.
You guys want to say hi to Lilith? She's illegally sneaking into the workspace.
Hi.
Lilith, what's it like to get away with whatever you want because you're so cute?
Cry.
Cry?
Cry. Not what's your method.
Yeah, we can get into that too. Is that how you get whatever you want by crying?
Does she look like me?
Yes.
Why does the outside make you smell like that? Say hi and then say bye.
Do you not know what sweat smells like?
It's like metal.
No, she smells like sweat.
Oh. I guess not.
Why does the outside make you smell like this? You speak as like a person who's never sweat. What? You go into the sun and you come back with this scent. Is that what the sun smells like? What is this?
No.
All right, tell them to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Nice.
What are they doing there?
They're
That's
talking.
them chatting. That's them talking to you. A lot of people sending you emojis, some heart emojis and stuff.
Ad Astra was horrible, said
What are you saying to me?
Claire.
Oh.
Hold on, what is this thing about? Mushrooms in the mail. Are they having a whole mushroom conversation?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
filling you in on all the.
Oh.
We're good.
It smells metallic. I don't.
The freshy smell.
I'm starting to cool it off. I do. Mama, can I have the water right there? Thank you.
Lilith has the funniest TikTok I've ever seen. Nobody else is allowed to watch it, but she's quite a star.
The outside smell. Yeah, I was writing jokes for a podcast that got canceled, Claire, and I was one of them, so I never got to tell them, so I'll tell it right now. Okay.
Okay, go play.
Brad Pitt goes to Neptune to track down his father in He's Just Not That Into You Too. He's Just Not That Into You to the Stars. That's it. That's the
All
one.
right, I love you. Go.
Hey, lots of people are dealing with their childhood stuff, and not just on our podcast, but like everywhere, people are dealing with it. But everyone in our podcast, like all of our fans, they're all dealing with it, and it's nice that we're all doing it together. It's cool.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, Lilith, do what I said.
Now Lilith's going to demonstrate the crying technique.
You place your child outside the door.
She's fine. This new masterclass package with Lilith. It's well worth the money.
It's like the Flintstones. Exactly.
But Undone was when she saw the trailer, you said this looks like Alien School.
Yeah, it's like motherfucker.
And then I was watching it and I was like, that's exactly what this is.
Knock it off.
Episode 4, when she's just staring at the keys and she's making the keys move with her mind, quote unquote. I really, really loved that. She knows that she always gets her way. There was not new information for her. This is her jam all day, every day. Yeah, Mayor, I heard that a lot of people didn't like the ending. Did you feel like the ending of Undone was a cop-out?
Yeah. I don't like cliffhangers at the end of seasons. I don't enjoy that.
You wanted it to be wrapped up.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Especially since it was, and then there was like a character that you want to like in the whole show, and then you're like, fuck, I hate him in the last episode.
I didn't know if I liked him. But
what gets easier? These fucking kids?
Elizabeth listening to me on acid while on acid, very cool. I want to go camping and do acid, man. Did you all go see Midsummer like we told you to?
I love acid.
Good.
You don't?
No, I think I do. I don't think I ever took enough of it until Minneapolis. That was the first time that I really boom, I had a lot.
Yeah.
And, oh, you know what? We candy flipped is the term, correct?
Yeah.
We did Molly and acid.
I was gonna see if you want to do that tonight. I just remembered I have both.
We gotta sleep at some point.
Yeah.
If we take acid tonight, I won't sleep until Tuesday.
That's true.
But Undone reminded me of revelations that I had the time that we candy flipped.
Oh yeah.
when those episodes I was just referring to about like moving, I don't know, like when her dad is getting her into alien school, you know, and she's switching through times. I like had these memories from it was Vegas, right? Yeah. And I was like, oh man, I had this revelation that was like I could travel to any moment in time of my life I wanted to. I can go back to any time that I want if in that moment I separate myself from it. Like I'm not gonna explain it well. You know those things where it all makes sense while you're on drugs. And but it was like if you sit in this moment and try to hold on to it, it will be temporary. But if you live your life with just like okay with surrendering it, surrender yourself to that moment, then in the future you can come back to those feelings anytime you want. Like you can always come back and revisit those times or something. And it meant a lot to me at the time, and then I forgot about it, and then I watched Undone, and I was like, I don't know, remembering it.
They talk a lot about attachment, which is a lot of like transurfing stuff. Is you attach to a timeline or you attach to an idea, and you can't. It makes it to where you can't get to it.
Hippie flip, mushrooms and acid, very cool. Did you read the last comment? Jess, is this similar to some of the dimension stuff you've been talking about?
Yeah, well, I don't want to spoil the show, but there's like telekinesis stuff that's in the ad for it. But I was talking to someone today, got a reading, and was talking about timeline healing, and this was really interesting because what he was explaining was what I would call virtual reality therapy, which is where you go back in your memory and you change the outcome of traumatic things for your childhood. And then when he said that as a timeline changing, he was like, I went back to my childhood and I changed a fight between my parents. He said this was in a dream state. And then when he woke up, there was like a different dynamic between his dad and his mom. And then I'm like, oh shit. Because it's that place between when you first fall asleep and when you are all the way dreaming. That's a very magic place. That's actually where alien school takes place. And so I was like, oh fuck, what if that is like that's the astral plane, and that we could just go change the script of past timelines and change our entire lives, go change things, go change our impression of things. I think is more of it than like the actual events.
So if you change your impression of it, then you project a different history like onto current people, which then changes your perception of it, which puts you on a different timeline.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Someone said something up. Olivia wants to watch it again. Watching Midsummer, you definitely should. It's much better the second time, and it was already great the first time. Repelling via attachment. Oh, I watched a horror movie this weekend. So I really do watch a bunch of movies, but I watched a horror movie with Danny Dartnell called Oculus that also had similar I don't even call it themes. It's different, but it's still exploring with the same idea of changing your recollection of events and wrestling with what actually happened versus what you remember and like changing your memories and stuff. But it's all about an evil possessed mirror that changes your recollection of events, and it was really cool. But I was watching the whole time thinking like, this Jess would be into this shit. Tapping. I'm reading a book on tapping right now, which explains how to remember and replace with a new outcome.
That was in a different reading today.
Really?
Apparently there's tapping videos on YouTube.
Someone felt like they changed timelines while driving in Vegas earlier today. That's Olivia. When we were recording with Water Baby Tarot yesterday, Well, you guys didn't change timelines. You had a download or something. No, you had a deja vu thing, right?
Yeah, I have these like weird deja vus that feel like time markers. When Aaron and I first met, he sent me a song that felt like it, like I remembered it. I have these dreams about the future that I had in childhood, and Aaron had sent me a song, and I was like, "This is a song from one of those dreams," and then I was like, these dreams had these windmills, right? The windmills now, but like I remember those windmills from dreams when I was a kid. And then Aaron and I were driving across the country. Do you remember me saying, I think this road trip is going to be us driving in a 5D?
Yeah.
And do you remember me reminding you of that 10 times since then?
Yeah.
And then anyway, this was a similar feeling. And it was Water Baby and Aaron in the same studio. And it like it was like a deja vu that kept going for a second, and then this weird thing happens where like a superimposed version of what I'm looking at like floats over top of it, and it's like the beginning of a new movie.
Vanessa, what is not symbolic? Real imaginary mirror stage. What's that? That sounds interesting. And I want to know more about tapping too. It's very cool. I don't think either of us read very much, but I listen to books. I'm actually listening to 1984 right now because I feel like being depressed about the world. But that I can maybe listen to Childhood's End and tell you what I think about it. What's it about? Dude, you told your younger self that things are going to be okay. Someone shared something in the group, I think, that was like something from Reddit where a girl says like, I'm scared of flying. I conquered my fear of flying. Is that like on the plane, I think about myself I get a message from myself saying it's going to be okay. And then when I get off the plane, I send the message to my past self, you're going to be okay, bitch. And I was like, that's a cool trick. I like that. And you saw a little bit of that in Undone, you know?
Yeah.
When she's like standing in the elevator and she comes running into the elevator. Yeah. And then later you get to see her do that again.
Something else in Undone is the idea of loops, which come up a lot in people's readings, where it's like, so long as there's trauma that's trying to get your attention, you will loop. Your reality will loop. You'll end up in relationships with different people, but it's the same relationship. You'll end up in like dynamics, which was like Russian Doll was like that too, where it was like looped until she figured her way out.
Yeah. I really liked how they showed loops, and in Maniac too.
Why can't I fucking remember the plot to Maniac at all?
Because we binged it all on a plane in one day.
We did that with Russian Doll too, and I feel like I remember.
We kind of did them back to back. You know, they were pretty close to each other. But Maniac might be better. No, I don't know. Russian Doll's probably better, but I liked Maniac a lot.
I feel like I liked Maniac more, but I can't. Like I vaguely remember it.
Russian Doll just had a much better ending. Maniac kind of has this ending like Undone, you know, where you don't really know if it's a happy ending or not.
Yeah.
But it's those, you know, Emma Stone is working on this same loop, you know, until she lets it go at the very end.
Oh yeah, I remember now.
They're in all these different, like they're in the 80s, they're in this like murder mystery in the turn of the century, they're like in a fantasy thing, but she's doing the same story over and over again. This is how we read.
I was sitting back here and I was like, I wonder if I can just make my eyes relax enough to focus. Hold on. I think of Jacques Laurent, some big long word, and his theory of the dimensional. Did I lose that?
Borromean knot.
Okay, well, let me find one with fucking words.
Yeah, so Jacques Lacan, he's a psycholinguist. in his theory of the Borromean knot, symbolic, real, and imaginary realms and their overlap when people get into drug-induced perceptions. I'm going to Google that.
Are you triggering any more?
I'll just read it to you. Are you experiencing any more revelations of psychopath free sinks in? Yeah, since we recorded, yeah, I feel like this week maybe not, maybe I've been a little bit more chill with it, but it's a lot of paranoia mostly. I feel like I'm hyper aware of everyone manipulating me. Like when I am afraid everyone's a psychopath all the time. But then there are also like painful things. The night that we did mushrooms and watched Dave Chappelle, I as the night wore on, which is in the middle of the night, just smoking and saying sad shit about Tabitha, just like so it's a lot of sad stuff to unpack. I think Jessa is feeling probably even worse than me about it.
I think I'm gonna only do it on Patreon because he's actually dangerous, I think. But
No, why you have to one up me? Like, oh, your psychopath's more psychopathic than my psychopath?
No, I don't mean actually, and she's not actually, but just like Jason was garbage. My ex-husband was garbage, and I didn't know it because I didn't know I was codependent. And so he was like so manipulative that he figured out that you can make me do anything if you just imply that you'll be mad at me. And I made all these excuses. The end of the marriage was bad, and I made all these excuses for his behavior at the end because I thought he had a head injury, and I felt so guilty for leaving. It did come in for a soft landing in that, I just ate all his shit and hid all his abuse because I thought he bumped his head. And now I have realized a lot of stuff. It's helpful that he's a legitimate monster now. But yeah, anyway.
Like there's no more mask.
No, there's no mask.
Pretty
he's
obvious.
Overtly abusive to me now. And it's been rough because now here's this marriage that I thought was great and it wasn't. It was just as a codependent, I need to be proving my worth to feel safe. And he had me on a hamster wheel of like proving my worth, and then he would criticize me, and then I'd do whatever he wanted, but it was so subtle and manipulative. And then he would compliment me. I think I caught him cheating multiple times, and I'm so afraid of being crazy that he just used that against me. But like he used a lot of I just had this false identity, and he used it against me. And so it has been pretty rough because now I'm like, oh, okay, I've never had a good relationship. And I hate it, but
now you'll have good ones.
Yeah, but I can say he's my vampire, and he can just get fucked. I'm like, you can just like get all the way fucked. So I'm trying to get divorced and move on.
Tabitha is being super duper nice lately. Except I didn't tell you, Jessa, the other day she did the same bullshit about me calling Ethan, and she just like gave him the phone while he was still playing a video game, and he was just like, "I don't want to talk to you, Dad." And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, well, I'll try again later." And it's like, and then she sent me a text that was like, he told me he didn't want to talk to you, so I told him that he had to at least get on the phone and tell you that himself. which has always been her rule. It's never been. I don't want that.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I just told her yeah, he doesn't want to talk. I'm not going to make him talk. And she was like, can you at least? I think that when he wants to do that, he should at least get on the phone and tell us that. And I was like, fine, if you want that, I'll make him talk to you then. And usually, she forces him into still talking. I'm not like he'll be like, I don't want to talk to you, Mom. Goodbye. And she'll ask a question and get him to talk, right? And he always has a good time. I am too sensitive for that. He's like, I don't want to talk right now, Dad. And I'm like, okay, sorry, I'll go. Well, I didn't mean to interrupt Mario. My bad. But it's also really fucking take the video game away from him and make him talk to his dad. Like the morning of the school, walking to the school bus, she wouldn't wait, and she was just looking at me like, sorry, he's anxious, he doesn't want to wait for you. And I'm like, I would tell him we're waiting for your mom.
Well, make up your mind. Do you want to make him talk to, she's like, make him talk to me on the phone, but I can't make him wait for you for the bus stop. It's just.
Yeah. Anyway, so then I just said goodbye, and I was like, I'll just talk to him later. And she was like, no, let's try again right now. And then she called me again, and I went through the thing with Ethan again, and it was very annoying. And I was like, and Danny was there for it, and Tabitha had made comments about, say hi to the Dardanelles for me, because she could tell I was at their house. But anyway, that felt shitty. But for the most part, she's been suspiciously nice, where it's scary to me even when she's nice, because I want to believe, and I want to yeah, let's talk about Ethan and let's share photos, but I know that just opens myself up for her next attack, which I believe is coming. It's kind of up too high now, but can you believe someone left us a review recently that said there was too much laughter, that they were sick of, I fast forward through the laughter, and I was like, that's everyone's favorite part.
What's funny is that on Soberish, when it was a recovery podcast for that week, people hate my laugh when it's not at Aaron. Like my laugh at you is infectious, but people didn't like the laugh when I was
on
laughing at other
Soberish?
people. Mm-hmm.
Wait.
Someone said her laugh makes me want to relapse.
That's weird. It's the same laugh.
Tim Dillon can get me laughing, but then other than that, I think the laugh at you is more.
People hate Tabitha. That's great. That's very validating to me. Danny Dartnell told me, she's like, I've told people who do not know you about your story, and everyone feels like she's a monster. And I was like, that's weirdly nice to hear. That's that's validating to know, I'm not just making it up. We've taken a sample. We've taken a survey of Americans. And
I've had many conversations before you realized that she was a narcissist. Obviously I had a dog in the fight, but I would be like, let me run this by you. Am I being dramatic, or does this sound like a sociopath? Obviously I'm jealous, so I have to get other people's opinion, but it's insane, right? To swipe Tinder in front of your husband of 7 years 5 minutes after telling him that you want to split up on a road trip, right? That's insane, and everyone agrees.
When we were on, I probably won't ever talk about this on the podcast, so this is just for you guys. Hey, when we were in Vegas recording that shit, the one we did the same night that I think we did Mushroom Sunday School, I got text from Tabitha saying, well, here's a backstory. So she got together with Todd, right, pretty quickly, and immediately Ethan was calling Todd's son his brother. Immediately, and they were really close and intimate right away, and I expressed a lot of concern about this, and I was like, don't sleep over, don't do this, don't do that, because that's not good for Ethan. You should wait a few months, date this guy for a few months. And she was like, well, it doesn't matter because I'm going to marry him. Weirdly, she never did. It's strange. She promised she was going to marry him, but she was like, we're going to be together forever, and we are a family, and all this, and they are brothers. I'm like, okay.
I am triangulating you.
Yeah. And then they broke up in January, And in February, when she told me about it, she was like, the boys are still going to see each other. We're going to have play dates and stuff, and they're still going to see each other. And Ethan never saw who he believes is his brother, never saw him again since January. Hasn't seen him since January. He talks about him more and more frequently, though. He tells strangers about him. Like, he just brings him up all the time. He goes, my brother this, but my brother has a bike like this, and my brother is something like this. And he just, and it makes me a little sad, but I don't say anything. Like, I feel like, what am I going to say? So while we're in Vegas, she texts me and says, does Ethan talk about his brother, quote unquote, brother or stepfather? And I was like, never the stepfather, but talks about his brother to the strangers in the grocery store. And she was like, yeah, he does that here too. When do you think I should correct him? Is how she phrased it. When do you think I should correct him? And I was like, 2 years ago? Like, I don't know, man. That's it's really shitty that you're now, because when I brought up my complaints, my concerns about it, I was told that I was being jealous, that I was the insane jealous ex, that I was trying to control her new life. And I was like, I'm just looking out for Ethan. And you're like, acting like I was trying to control her life. And now she's just asking me for advice on when to correct Ethan. I'm like, correct him? You're the one who told him that. To him, that's true. And now, like, it's shitty. It's shitty. And I can tell that she did have a talk with him about it, because he said some things to me. And
really?
yeah, about why his mom left Todd, and because Todd was mean and rude, and so she had to leave him and stuff. And yeah, he was just volunteering all this information one night at bedtime, and I could tell that they had just had a big talk about it. He didn't say much about his brother, so I don't know. I don't want to tell him that he doesn't have a brother. I'm not going to tell him that. You can tell him that, man.
God.
You'd slap her face. Nice, psycho. Yeah, he craves a sibling. That's what I cried about that night on mushrooms. I was out there smoking. It's just like, I was like, you know what I'm good at, Jessa? Raising kids. I want to raise kids. I want to give Ethan a family. I want to give him siblings. No. It makes me sad how much he wants a sibling, because I wanted to give him one, I really did. I always wanted him to have a little brother or sister that would come right after him. They'd be close in age. We went and saw Totoro together, me and him. We love Totoro. And the sisters just take care of each other. And I'm like, siblings are so cool. When they're not molesting each other, they're really cool. Calling everyone a new daddy, it's bad. It's bad. She has a new boyfriend, Jeff, who Ethan just refers to as his mom's friend, which I think is good. That's an improvement. Mm-hmm. Dude, his first Ghibli movie was Howl's Moving Castle. He was watching as a 2-year-old, and I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I don't understand what's going on. How do you understand? Is that guy a crow? That old woman's the young woman? I'm confused. But he loves it. And so Ghibli movies are always there's one every month in theaters, and we like to go see them. On the topic of codependency, do you have any advice to give about changing yourself once you've realized you've been behaving this way?
Yes, my codependency course.
The masterclass.
First, all of I think Codependency for Dummies is the best codependency book. Codependency No More is what everyone else says, but Codependency for Dummies laid it out in a way that's, sorry, I needed to see what time it was. In a way that's easy for me to understand, and then kind of identifying all the behavior and then observing it. So I'm kind of in a great position right now where I get to get codependently activated quite a bit, because he's still triggers me, but we're not together. So there is the thing that was the saddest about the codependency is once the codependency was off and running, is the same time when Aaron was like trying to come closer, and nothing got better. And it got worse because of the codependency was already like fully out of control. So now there is no option of making it Aaron's problem. I think that if I was in a relationship, it would be difficult because the temptation would be there to project. But like I don't have. We're in this strange dynamic where we still work together, we're still friends, but I still have a lot of the same feelings. I still have to face a lot of these things, but now it's just me in this showdown with it. So a lot of it is observing. A lot of it is I don't allow myself to act. It's still pretty taxing on Aaron, I think, because like energetically, psychically, whatever you want to call it, like he can still feel it, but like I don't act, I just watch it. And it gets smaller and smaller, and there are a million places where it exists as a ghost, where I'm like, oh, that would have been triggering. Oh, that would have bothered me. And it's like every single time I face a new thing, it kind of goes away. It's very weakened. The other big thing is boundaries, man. And that's like not really with him, but with fans and family members and stuff. Like the boundary stuff was very big for me, needing to prove my worth, needing to solve other people's problems. It's kind of in every area of my life. So most of it's just been being honest, pointing it out, talking about it. And it's very embarrassing for me to talk about, but the shame, it like hides behind the shame. And then dealing with the covert low self-esteem has been interesting. So I kind of feel like I don't have any idea who I am at the moment. But other than that, it's pretty tight.
I think I don't know if I was codependent, but I was certainly doing a lot of codependent shit in my relationship with Tabitha and then afterwards. And I feel like in the years immediately afterwards, I was working on being alone and like literally like I'm spending day after day just by myself without other people. I still go see someone. I was also depressed, but like I took a lot of pride in like finding out how to be happy by myself, and I was.
Well, see, that's what I thought codependency was just like afraid to be alone, and so I didn't really identify with that because I like to be alone. I won't. When I think of codependent, I think of people that have to have someone at all times and it doesn't matter. Like, I wish I was like that. I don't wish I was like that, but I'm not like that. Like, if I attach to somebody, it's very specific. It's not very often. And then I'm like, I didn't realize it was an entire, like, personality type that involves, so basically the shadow side of empathy. And it doesn't have a ton. Actually, most avoidants are codependent. It's a codependent. It's a symptom of codependency. Is avoidant in most relationships, and then like it's low self-esteem. It's I like now they're going to start calling it self-love deficiency syndrome. So I don't actually have high self-esteem. I'm very confident in the avatar that I've created. And so if at any point this avatar stops working, then, stops working to prove her worth, then y'all will see that I'm actually garbage, and then everything will fall apart. So there is this like constant thing. And that's why like I would have a negative response to Aaron being happy outside of me or sad outside of me, because both of those things mean,
Cindy talked about her husband realizing he's codependent, and the way that you're describing that, like that's how I felt with Tabitha, and I think that's how Jessa felt with me. We just were recording a podcast yesterday, and she talked about how like if I went for a walk, like just alone for a walk, she was just like, he can't stand being around me. He hates me so much. And if I said like, I'm feeling good after my walk, she was like, he hates being around me, and that's how I felt. I hated Tabitha doing anything without me because I just felt the same way.
Well, I think what's interesting is probably Tabitha could have possibly been purposefully doing that.
True,
too.
which is why I said I don't know if I was actually codependent, but I was just, doing a lot of codependent shit.
Yeah.
Because that's what I mean. It's like now as I'm reprocessing, because I used to say all the time, "Oh, we were very codependent. And it wasn't healthy," and that the not healthy part was correct, spot on. But it might not have actually been true codependence. It might have been, like as Jackson McKenzie says, these are like
they create kind of a codependent dynamic, right?
That these emotional responses are artificial, and that they are someone's purposely trying to make you feel this way. You don't actually feel that way.
What I realized.
What time do we have to end?
In like 15.
15 minutes. Okay.
What I realized is I have like a survivor personality. So like my whole life has just been about like taking hits and finding ways to survive the next hit. And so it's just a series of like walls and armor and I don't care, and like compartmentalization and stuff. And that when I do fall in love, which I am not someone who attaches to people easy. I have a hard time connecting to people. I connect in a way that like feels connected to them, but it doesn't for me. Then the few times that I've actually fallen in love, then we have the crushing weight of every loss and every trauma I've ever suffered in my life comes up. And it's overwhelming and awful, and I ruin it. And I didn't ruin it with Jason because I didn't love Jason at all. But it's a 24/7 like assessing of where I stand and trying to figure out where I stand and whether or not I'm wanted. And that part's still present. Like the other night, and this is where it's beneficial to have this dynamic like this now. The other night we were hanging out and codependency was like, I think you accidentally got invited to this. I think it's pretty obvious by everyone's body language. You're not wanted here. He doesn't really want you here. Why are you the last person to figure out that you're not wanted here? And it was like me kind of in a showdown inside of my head. Like, okay, I don't think that that's true. Like, you've told me that before and it wasn't true. Like, for 2 years, you've been telling me that I wasn't wanted and it wasn't true. And I can't see it until it's in the rear view. So I'm not going to believe it, or I'm going to give it 48 hours before I act out, or, I guess I was getting weird because I'm in this battle inside my head. But that's really just like childhood shit, right? It's just childhood shit showing up and being like, this is why we don't let anybody close, or this is why we push people away, or this is why we act out, or whatever. So it's kind of this infinite onion of trauma.
Cindy says some more stuff about her and her husband. I can't have a life away from him or the kids. If I'm happy on my own, he thinks I don't love him and I want to escape. He can't be happy for me. That's, textbook codependency stuff. And he sounds like he's been instilled with a lot of shame and guilt from a religious upbringing. I know that we're not therapists, like our podcast is a good catalyst, for stuff. But like, if you guys could go to couples therapy, I really believe in that. I liked going to couples therapy. Tabitha didn't because she didn't want to fix it. But I still believe that if you have two people that want to fix something, a therapist is a really good idea. And like, you can meet with them separately and together. Like, you have weeks of like just he goes, and then a week where just you go, and then a week where you guys are together. You can look around and find therapists that work for you. But I think that's a really good idea. But oh, you are. That's great. It is a slow work, but if you're doing it, I'm really happy for you guys. That's excellent. Because it's good. It's good to we all love you. We love people, but we have to learn how to love better, right? You have love for someone, be like, you're not doing it the right way, and it's like good to learn, and it's hard work, but I'm glad that you guys are doing it. we're about to go record a podcast with Paul Gilmartin, the Mental Illness Happy Hour. So as we wrap up in the next 10 minutes or so, if you guys have any questions or things that we should talk to Paul Gilmartin about, drop them in there. All I know is I want to talk to him about mommy fetish porn.
I thought that was going to be the whole episode.
We could make it a whole episode. Then I don't want that to be what gets me off of Saturday Night Live someday.
It's on the Patreon.
I would be okay with that though. It's like I didn't call anyone I didn't use any slurs. I just admitted, I was brave enough to admit what we're all thinking about moms, man.
Oh, you can retract messages.
Yeah.
Tight.
Every app should have the option to unsend messages. Every app.
I like the way that Instagram does it, where it's even if they've already read it. Sometimes when I'm talking to people I don't trust,
you don't want them to be able to screenshot that later. You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Facebook is like, once they've already seen it, they're like, "What's the point? We're not gonna delete it." You can delete the whole conversation, though, can't you? Or is it just on your phone?
Just on your side.
Just on your phone.
But you, it also like tells them, hey, they got nervous and deleted a message.
Oh yeah, and Instagram, there's no trace. Instagram's cool.
Yeah.
Instagram is your friend. Facebook is Takashi69. Is that how you say it? I've never actually said his name out loud or heard anyone say his name out loud. I just see it. Is it Takashi? What y'all said about covert incest. Is that when did we start talking? I felt like the first time. I don't remember what we ever talked about. Well, you're talking about the Patreon episode that we recorded with Paul?
Yes.
Okay. I guess we did talk about it a little bit already.
Oh, he accidentally redacted it. Yes, we will at some point.
We gotta come to Atlanta. I want to go back to Relapse Theater again. We just apparently have to book further in advance. It was like in August. I was trying to book something for October, and they didn't have it. But my friend's getting married our friend, most of my friend. We have a friend getting married in Athens, Georgia in March. We could plan a show around then. But you guys probably don't want to wait that long. Cassandra stopped judging herself, forgave herself. What's that like, man? People talking about and then one day I just had this awakening, and then one day I loved everyone. And I'm like, oh, am I?
No, we're not coming to Toronto.
My brother just went to Toronto though. He said he loved it, that I would love it. I think I would, but we could go to Toronto. You got a passport?
I gotta renew it.
I got a passport already, baby.
All right, we're gonna go. I gotta get coffee or something.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, everyone wants to come back to the South. I guess we got.
Why are none of you motherfuckers in Bakersfield?
Yeah, where are there motherfuckers from Bakersfield? We haven't sold any. We've sold 2 tickets to our show on Friday in Bakersfield. So I get ready for us to plug that every single day this week. Oh, I love when everyone says goodbye to us. Oh, yeah, I'm liking the live chats too. Thank you so much, guys. This was fun. Yeah, we love you. We're Salt Lake on your birthday. That's exciting. Tabitha used to live in Fresno.
Really?
Yeah, she went to Buchanan High. Is that a high school in Fresno, Cindy? But a lot of Mormons in Fresno, actually.
Tell them to come to Bakersfield.
Salt Lake is November 10th, the day after Denver. We do Denver November 9th. Hopefully we're doing Grand Junction November 8th, but that's still unconfirmed. But hopefully a couple dates in Colorado, and then Salt Lake City in November. Did the aliens already tell you about tickets in Bakersfield? Olivia, you better be there. You better make it. Olivia.
The aliens didn't tell me that Bakersfield wasn't in Northern California, so
Aliens don't give a shit too much about local geography.
I actually quit. I was like building a thing towards doing Rogan and then quit. And then just like yesterday, we were at this Comedy Central thing, and I got this like, it's time to do Rogan. And
not that if he was at the party, she would have recognized him. But
I've seen him. But you want to be Aaron?
She wants to be free. She wants to be there, I think. But also, I'm sure she also wants to be me. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I saw Rory Scovel at the party last night. He once answered my questions about stand-up comedy in Boise, Idaho, and changed my whole approach to performing. And I wanted to tell him that, but of course I didn't. I said I just stood in his presence for a second and then walked away. I was like, and goodbye.
Oh, you told me that in February. You know what's really weird is I forget the readings immediately. I forget your names and everything else also. Karen Rontowski, I would be like, remember this was in the reading in January? And she's like, there's no hard drive for other people's readings, which I think is really interesting.
All right. Well, we got to go, guys. Thanks for doing the live chat with us. We'll keep them coming. And yeah, bye.
And then it's going to be like, really? You want to quit?
You really want to quit? No,